and white, life and death, good and evil. Two sides of a chess game. Two forces in the universe, one magnificent, the other sinister. It is said that the devil plays for men's souls. So does Dr. Fu Manchu, Satan himself, evil incarnate.
Ladies and gentlemen, this broadcast is originating at the Municipal Airport in Hong Kong. During the refueling stopover, we hope to bring to you an on-the-spot interview with one of the most important men of our time. A man who might have the answer to that dread question, is it to be war or peace? Can the East and West find a solution to their differences? Professor Hu Yan, Special Delegate to the Conference of Nations. They're getting off the plane now, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Yan. Professor Yan, please, sir. Professor Yan, would you say a few words to a world audience? I understand, sir, that you bring with you a formula for world peace.
There is no formula for world peace, except as each man abolishes fear and hatred from his own heart.
I understand, Professor Yan, that you have mandates from the Eastern warlords that might make it possible to end the threat of war.
Well, let's put it that I have been given the power to accept the plan being put forth by the United States, should it be all that it seems.
During the last war, weren't you in a concentration camp for a long period of time?
3 years.
Then no one knows better than you the importance of freedom. Thank you, Professor Hu Yan. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard an on-the-spot interview with Professor Hu Yan.
Betty Leonard, you will open your eyes. You are a laboratory technician. You are to go on duty at the municipal airport at 10 a.m. That is correct?
That is correct.
Professor Hu Yan arrives on Flight 9 from the Orient. He is suffering from a rare disease, and only you will be able to save his life. Do you understand?
I understand.
The serum you are to use will be in an ampule in your purse. Now you may close your eyes. Dress her at once for the street, and see that she reaches her place of employment on time.
Mr. J.P. Robinson, passenger on Flight 21. Your plane is ready for immediate departure at gate number 3. Mr. Robinson, please. All passengers for flight number 22, please report to your plane at gate number 4.
It is my duty to assist Sir Dennis in meeting the delegates and smoothing their clearance by customs, immigration, and health officials. I am John Petrie, doctor of medicine and close friend of Sir Dennis Nayland Smith. late of Scotland Yard and now assigned as Chief of Security for the conference. Through Sir Dennis, I am presently assigned to the Surgeon General's staff. This morning, at the very last minute, Sir Dennis was called away on an important matter, and he had asked me to meet Professor Yan without him. We ran into a slight delay. The professor lacked the proper certification covering his last smallpox vaccination, one of the musts for travelers entering America.
Miss Leonard, will you take the data, please?
Yes, Doctor. Your name, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Betty. This is Professor Hugh Yan, my assistant, Miss Leonard. I'm very sorry about this, sir, but I'm afraid there's no choice but to go through another vaccination. Let me take your case and your coat.
Thanks.
I'll take your coat. Now, if you'll roll up your right sleeve, please. Miss Leonard will have it over with in just a moment. Sounds like they're coming here. Sir Dennis.
Ready, Professor Yan?
Wait here. Professor Yan, I'm glad you're safe.
Betty! What's the idea of the hypo? This was supposed to be a routine vaccination.
Send an ambulance to the lab office and hurry. Where did you get this serum?
I don't know. Somehow I knew it was in my purse.
Pulse and respiration subnormal. He's now in a coma.
I'll run a test on this serum as soon as possible. Only half the stuff's inside him. There may be time.
I will, sir. Why, Betty? Why?
Dr. Yan is sick. He would have died if I hadn't given him that serum.
Well, that's crazy.
Not necessarily, Petrie. Look at her, confused, distraught.
You think it might be post-hypnotic suggestion?
It's possible. That important phone call I received turned out to be a wild goose chase. This must be a plot against Professor Yan. Oh, the ambulance.
The first step has been carried out, Master. Professor Yan has received the injection.
Only part of it, Karamana. Send Loader to me. Karamana. A woman is eternally unpredictable and can upset the best laid plans. As witness a woman called Eve.
Yes, my lord.
If there is any weakness in my plan, it is because I have made use of a woman.
You sent for me, Doctor?
Sir Dennis Nayland Smith has had Professor Yan sent to the receiving hospital. See to it that he does not recover from the effects of the injection he received.
Yes, my lord.
How is he?
No change.
I've arranged for a police guard to be with him at all times.
Good. How are you feeling, Betty?
As though every thought in my mind had been probed. And still nothing that helps. I'm terribly sorry.
Now, don't be. You weren't responsible. Any report on the serum?
The results of the first run might be in the lab. Let's check on it. It appears to be a protein parallelepiped with a definite porphyrin ring. Sounds like hemoglobin, but it isn't. Of course, the report isn't complete.
Well, keep on working on it. And Petrie, some psychiatry might bring out the data hidden in Miss Leonard's subconscious. You might have a try at it.
I will, sir.
Petrie, is there any way that...
Yan. It's the guard. Then where is Professor Yan? Get to the priest quickly.
You have done well, Loda. Now go back to the hospital. See to it that no one completes an analysis of the serum used on Professor Yan. And so, Karimana, we are now ready for the Conference of Nations.
2,000 years ago, Plato said that virtue could not be taught. It could only be demonstrated. Dedicated to the principle that people who trust one another cannot fear one another, final plans are being made for the Conference of Nations with representatives from many countries to be convened in America for the sole purpose of promoting international cooperation.
While we are awaiting the arrival of Professor Hu Yan, it might be well to discuss briefly what can be offered to the full conference. The United States has proposed to share the Rutledge radiation shield with all member nations, provided that they, in exchange, will pool their own country's secret industrial knowledge for the common good of all mankind. This will result in nuclear reactors that will run machinery and help grow crops to feed the hungry people of the world. Once this has been accomplished, it will be impossible for any group to convince the masses that there is a need for war. Therefore, I cannot stress too greatly the importance of mutual trust and cooperation, especially by the members of this planning committee.
In that regard, Mr. Chairman, I would like to report an incident which took place this morning.
Chair recognizes the delegate from South America.
I received a phone call warning me that one of the nations represented here had made plans to keep the Far Eastern delegate, Professor Hu Yan, from attending this conference.
Did your informant name any particular nation?
No. He just warned that we should all be on our guard.
In other words, an attempt was made to cast suspicion on all nations. There has been an attempt to keep Professor Yan from attending this conference, but it was not at the instigation of any one nation. It was by a secret society dedicated to the downfall and destruction of everything that this conference stands for. And the man who heads this group is capable of unbelievable acts of wickedness.
You sound as if you were speaking of the devil himself.
I might as well be. Gentlemen, we are facing an enemy as old as time itself. His goal is chaos. His name, Fu Manchu.
The man is crazy.
I'm giving you the facts, gentlemen. Fu Manchu is out to destroy this conference. He is determined to provoke a nuclear war between the East and West, and millions of innocent people will be killed.
You can prove your extraordinary statement, Sir Dennis?
That telephone call that Mr. Valeria received this morning, sowing seeds of doubt and suspicion, is a stratagem typical of Dr. Fu Manchu. And then there is the disappearance of Professor Yan.
Where is Professor Yan?
I don't know. He was spirited away by agents of Fu Manchu not more than half an hour ago.
Sorry to be late, gentlemen. You see, I was able to make it after all.
The last time I saw you, Professor Yan, you were in a coma. You were also under medical care and police protection in the receiving hospital.
An attempt was made to poison me when I arrived at the airport. I agreed to submit to an inoculation and lost consciousness almost immediately the serum was injected. I have not yet completely recovered from the effects of the drug. One side of my body, my face, and this hand are partially paralyzed. I recovered consciousness in the hospital, but continued to pretend coma. I wanted to find out what was going on. What I overheard was enough to make me realize I was deliberately being kept from attending this conference.
But what about the priest guard who was there to protect you? Do you know who killed him?
If he is dead, I'm sorry, but I know nothing of his murder. I waited until the room was clear of people, then got out of bed, dressed, and came here.
If there has been a plot against Professor Hu Yan, we must know about it. This entire matter must be investigated at once.
Nothing would suit me better.
One moment, gentlemen. Would it be wise to launch an investigation and let the public know of this incident?
Well, if some nation is trying to sabotage the conference, the whole world should know about it.
But what then? What of this job we have to do here?
He's right. News like this would end this conference before it got started.
To be forewarned is to be forearmed. We will still sit together at this table, but we will be on guard against treachery. We will not be so foolish as to trust one another blindly.
In an atmosphere of mutual distrust and suspicion, nothing can be attained by this conference.
I find it easier to accept Professor Yan's account and advice than swallow Sir Dennis' story about the mysterious Dr. Fu Manchu.
Laboratory.
Tests.
Hypodermic.
Serum.
Cigarette.
Match.
Serum.
Purse.
Injection.
Ampule.
Ampule.
Fu Manchu.
Why did you say that?
I don't know.
Try to remember. Dr. Fu Manchu.
What? It's like a dream that's been forgotten. John, I'm scared.
We'll let her rest. Take it easy, Betty.
You know, in my years of matching wits with that devil, I've come to know how he operates. Take that serum Yan was given. Who else but Fu Manchu could produce a poison of such an unfamiliar pattern? And he's a past master of every hypnotic trick in the book. I just left Professor Yan at the Conference of Nations.
What?
Yes, he was spirited out of this building and revived. He's obviously following Fu Manchu's instructions.
You mean he was hypnotized, like I was?
No, I doubt if that's it.
Well, what else could it be but a hypnosis?
It's impossible to make a hypnotized subject commit acts contrary to his basic moral code. Professor Yan is known to be a fine, idealistic, and honorable man.
Well, right now, your fine and honorable man is destroying the Conference of Nations.
At the next meeting of the conference, Professor Rutledge will demonstrate a model of his radiation shield. It will be a simple matter for you to leave with it in your possession. The others will make no attempt to stop you. They will all be dead.
I understand.
You know the penalty of failure.
There will be none.
Cole. It has been reported to me that Dr. Petrie is making repeated efforts to probe the subconscious mind of the girl, Betty Leonard. We have no longer any need for her. Inform Loda she is to be destroyed.
The police say it is impossible for Professor Yan to be taken from this building without being seen. And Petrie, when things seem impossible, it's an indication that there's a false assumption somewhere.
What is it?
Can you leave these tests long enough to come with me?
Well, sure, Betty can run them. I'll tell Loda to help her. What's on your mind?
We're going to comb this building from top to bottom. Come on, let's hurry.
Mr. Loader, Dr. Petrie wants a spectrum analysis of the residue in bottles A and B. Will you get the equipment ready for me, please? Mr. Loader.
Betty! Betty!
He's dead. Notify the police. I'm going over to the conference at once.
Indubitably, our
Notice the heavy sheathing of the container. Also that one side is removable. In a moment, we will expose the counter to the radioactive isotope inside.
But isn't that rather...
Now, there will be no danger, gentlemen, providing you stay where you are. I want you to observe the effect on the counter. Now, the Rutledge radiation shield is, well, it's somewhat like a fast rally in a tennis match. A good player will return the ball, no matter to what part of the court it is put. Well, it is merely a question of having the racket in the right place at the right time. It is light, durable, and easily manufactured. What you see here has the shielding equivalent of many inches of solid lead.
Remarkable demonstration.
Why, that means that atomic energy can be made safe for use to anyone.
It means atomic motors in cars, airplanes. With this device, even a backward nation could become prosperous and strong.
That is why the United States wants all free nations to have the shield. In the hands of one nation, it could be used for war. But shared by all, it can provide the means of establishing a solid foundation for peace.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Sir Dennis.
That man is not Professor Hu Yan. He is an imposter.
Why, the man's insane.
Serious charge, Sir Dennis.
I'm well aware of it, sir.
If he had any proof at all to back his charge, the police would be here to arrest me.
They're on their way over now. I came on ahead. Dr. Petrie and I just found the real Professor Yan where Fu Manchu's agents had left him to die. In a storeroom in the basement of the hospital. I'm glad to say that we got there in time.
This is very difficult to believe. I have known Professor Yan for many years.
Have you seen him since he was confined in a concentration camp? This man's paralysis is an act to cover up any differences of speech and appearance that might be noticed by anyone like you who knew the real Professor Yan.
I can't understand what possesses Sir Dennis to say what he does. But I'm perfectly willing to remain here until the proper authorities arrive.
By that time, we may all be dead. And he claims to be paralyzed. Give yourself up, man, you'll fall. Professor Yan. Professor Yan.
Professor. Professor. Yes, it's so good to see you after all these years.
Let me shake your hand.
Black and white, life and death, good and evil, two sides of a chess game, two forces in the universe, one magnificent, the other sinister. It is said that the devil plays for men's souls. So does Dr. Fu Manchu. Satan himself, evil incarnate.
There is only one way to dispose of such a large amount of gold. Through the gold smuggling operation centered in Macau, the hottest trading post for gold in the world. $27 million worth a month pours in. Its entry legal due to the fact that Portugal did not sign the Bretton Woods Monetary Agreement, which tied most nations to a world price of $35 an ounce. Our next move was obvious. We contacted Lum Sen, Chief of Investigation for the Bureau of Internal Affairs in Macau. I'm John Petrie, Doctor of Medicine and attached to the Surgeon General's staff. The young lady is Betty Leonard, my assistant. We were assigned to the case at Sir Dennis's request. We found that Lum Sen already had an undercover agent named Vicente working as one of the smugglers, and that Vicente had a plan to capture a man named Morgan, known to be captain of a ship engaged in smuggling gold out of Macau.
This is the area we raid, Sir Dennis, just off the Kowloon Highway. The shacks are up in these low hills.
And you think Vicente can have this man Morgan there?
Vicente has been a member of Morgan's crew aboard the sampan smuggling out the gold. This is the shack where they share the same living quarters. Vicente would not have sent word if he was not sure.
But how sure can you be that Fu Manchu is the real power behind the gold theft and these smuggling operations?
We cannot be. That is why my government is glad you came to Macau. You, better than any of us, know the workings of this man's mind, his aims, his ambitions, how he operates. Now, for the raid.
I will ask you once more. How much does Lum Sen know? So, you wish to remain silent? Very well. But since you have gone to so much trouble to find things out, I would not wish to disappoint you. Yes, if you were to report back to Lum Sen Or you could tell him it was Dr. Fu Manchu who stole the gold, who controls the gold market, who runs the gauntlet of guns to deliver these shipments into the hands of other nations willing to pay any price for its possession. Gold is God here in Macau, and the man who controls this God controls Asia. Yes, you could have told much to Lum Sen, and you can still tell much to him. Even the dead can deliver a message. Most unfortunate, Mr. Morgan discovered who you really were. I do not know which I despise most in this world, a traitor or a spy. You have been anxious to cast your eyes upon my gold. So you shall.
Vicente. Fu Manchu. See the mark on his forehead? What happened here? Tell me, who are you? What's your name? Do you know him?
No. We've got to get her to a hospital right away.
Captain Alvarez, please call an ambulance.
Well, what do you think?
There's nothing wrong with her physically. I'd say she's been thrown into some form of psychic shock. A kind of, well, vocal blackout, no doubt caused by what happened in that shack, whatever it was. And the very real shock of her possibly thinking that that dead man was the man in the photograph.
When do you think she'll pull out of it?
Well, these shock cases are unpredictable. Time, rest, quiet. There's no one particular therapy. Of course, I could use sodium pentothal, but I...
Petrie, if you could unlock her mind long enough to find out who she is, why she was there, who the man in the photograph is. Right now, she's our only link to Fu Manchu.
And right now, narcosynthesis might be too risky for her. No, I'd rather wait a day or two. She may snap out of it by herself.
Each day we delay helps Fu Manchu, Dr. Petrie.
I know. I'm sorry. But this is a human being. A life. Isn't there anything specific you know about her?
Only that she's probably an American. The label inside her shoes and in her clothes give the name of a store in Los Angeles, California. Otherwise, no positive identification, no papers, nothing.
Betty?
Any special instructions, Doctor?
No, just stay with her. If there's any change, you can call me at Lum Sen's office. I'll be there with Sir Dennis.
Yes, Doctor.
We wire photoed the picture to Daniels in Washington for possible identification.
Any word yet?
No, nothing yet.
When do you think you will hear?
Well, I don't know. At what time? We should hear in about a couple of hours, I guess.
Word has just reached me that Dr. John Petrie arrived in Macau this morning.
You had me worried for a minute. I thought the way you sent the giant running after me, something really went wrong. Well, what's the doctor here for? To pay her a house call?
Mr. Morgan, your friends may die laughing at your humor, but I think I prefer just the reverse reaction.
No harm meant. I didn't know you were touchy.
I am very touchy, Mr. Morgan. I am especially touchy because of what is at stake. But perhaps you cannot see beyond the color of a few bars of gold.
To each his own. Happens to be my favorite color.
Very droll, Mr. Morgan. But unfortunately, Sir Dennis and Dr. Petrie do not share your point of view. They found a woman at Vicente's.
A woman? Up at the shack?
In a state of shock. She was unable to speak. She must have come there just after you brought Vicente's body back. She may have seen you, or perhaps not.
A woman? Do they know who?
I do not think so. But when she recovers, she will talk. And who knows what she will be able to say to them. And that is where you come in, Mr. Morgan. You will see to it that Dr. Petrie's patient will not recover.
I'll smuggle your gold past Chinese customs. I'll take anything that floats past the nose of any British gunboat out there. I'll even dump a dead body where you want it. But sorry, I won't put one on that condition. Look, when I was a little boy, my mother always used to tell me it isn't nice to go around killing people.
A noble woman, your mother, Mr. Morgan. But it would pain me to see you die for something you would not do. Poor Vicente. You understand?
Then my husband's leave was canceled suddenly, and he got orders to rejoin his ship. He didn't know what his destination would be. He thought Korea. Well, I went with him up to San Francisco. We said goodbye there. It turned out to be a very long goodbye. And then one day, I received a letter from the Navy Department. It was brief and to the point. It is our painful duty to inform you that your husband has committed suicide. Well, I couldn't believe it. Philip wasn't the type to commit suicide. So I made further official inquiries.
And?
And I was told that nobody official ever sent me that letter. But officially I was told that Philip went before a court-martial and was found guilty. Our marriage wasn't the kind that you write up in books. It was wrong from the start, I guess. But if Philip was dead, I had to know. And if he was alive, I had to find that out, too. There were too many broken pieces in my life still laying around. They had to be swept up clean, once and for all. So I telephoned, I wrote letters. I went to see his shipmates, his friends, anybody, anything I could think of to try to find out what really happened, where he was. And then I ran into an old shipmate of his who'd seen him. And the trail ended here, at that shack. I went in. I saw the body lying there. And after that, I don't remember anything. Till I saw Philip's face staring down at me.
I'd say your husband wrote you that first letter himself, Mrs. Judson. The truth is, he was court-martialed for black market activities during the Korean campaign.
Oh.
Maybe he thought it best to let you think he died, and in that way go out of your life.
But it can't work that way. He isn't dead.
No, he isn't. And further, we have every reason to believe that he's mixed up in something quite serious.
Did he kill that man?
We don't know.
But your husband does know you're here now. And we have a feeling he's going to come back again.
You mean you think he might come back and try to kill me?
He's a desperate man, Mrs. Judson. Won't you please help us? He's our one link to what we must find out.
He's my one link, too.
And the woman found in the shack off Kowloon Highway is still in a state of shock and unable to speak. Police are withholding names of suspects for the time being.
This woman must be silenced, Morgan.
She was too closely guarded. As it was, I had trouble with the nurse.
I will not accept failure a second time.
Yeah, sure.
You will be ready to sail tomorrow night with a shipment that will be met at a point along the coast of Indochina. I will tell you at what point just before you leave.
You give the orders. Tell them to get on with it. I've got to be loaded by sundown. I sail with the night tide.
All will be done. Any plans to sail with the night tide, my lord? I could not race quickly enough to inform.
I thought you were Perkins. He's up in surgery. An emergency case. They asked me to take his place.
American, aren't you?
Mikhail. Just one big happy melting pot.
Well, she's all yours. Pretty and all that, but it's just like sitting here talking to yourself.
Well, better pickings next time.
But if she does open her mouth, you yell and yell fast.
I'll remember.
Phil.
Anne.
Shh. Oh, Phil, I knew you'd come back. I knew it. I've been lying here pretending I couldn't speak, counting the moments, knowing you'd find some way to come back to me. Phil, I've been hearing them say the most terrible things about you. That you're mixed up in something very bad. That you even killed a man. Did you, Phil? Oh, did you?
Anne, were they waiting for me to come back here? To walk into their arms? Are they waiting out there now?
Yes.
Anne, listen to me. Don't ask me why I came here the first time. Make believe it never happened. This time it's different, though. I came back to take you with me. Anne, forget what I've been, all the things I've done. We'll start over. Begin a new life, find new happiness. I have enough gold aboard a boat in the harbor right now to buy half the world for you. And I want you. All this time I never knew how much. I'll change, darling. I'll make up for everything.
I'll go with you, Phil.
Now get dressed. I think I've got a way to get us out of here.
This is the woman. Thank you for bringing her to me. You have saved me so much trouble.
I could never have gotten out of the hospital without her.
Very clever disguise. But you are clever at disguises. Like loading gold into coal baskets.
I had a tip they had our boat spotted. I figured there was nothing suspicious about a bunch of coolies loading coal onto a Chinese junk, so I figured I'd let you know in time.
Did you also figure on letting me know you are sailing tonight? No. You cannot see beyond the color of gold. You heard me tell Vicente there are two kinds of people I despise most in this world. Spies and traitors. You are a greedy traitor, Lieutenant Jelton.
You know that?
Yes. I have known all about your past. Your black market activities, your court-martial, your marriage. A woman must hate or love a man very much if she will go to the ends of the earth to find him. I pity you if it was love that brought you here.
It wasn't love. You didn't really think you could charm your way back into my life, did you, Phil? I cried too many tears over you. I'm all cried out. I knew you were just using me to try to save yourself. And you don't think we left that hospital without being followed, do you? They let him take me out of there. They'll be here before you can set foot on deck.
I must be slipping, I guess. We're just getting older.
Down there, the first boat at the dock.
Have your men set up blockades at all possible points of escape. Notify the authorities in Hong Kong. He may try to cross over there.
Surely, Sir Dennis. It's a jungle of ships out there. We could never find him.
We can try.
We began the almost impossible search through the fleet of great teak-deck sampans stretching from the harbor to the horizon. Some of them armed like 19th century men of war. It was as though we had turned back the pages of history and come upon a fleet of ancient pirate ships. We picked up Fu Manchu's trail. It led us along Macau's waterfront to Barrier Gate. There, the trail ended. Fu Manchu had already passed through and had been swallowed up by the teeming millions of people which make up Red China.
I'm sorry the way things ended up for you, Mrs. Judson. But if it is of any consolation to you, we have been able to smash Dr. Fu Manchu's smuggling operations here. We have unmasked everyone acting as a blind for him and buying up the shipments of legally imported gold. We have much to thank you for. Excuse me. Yes? Thank you. The plane has landed in the harbor. I have a car waiting outside.
You know, Petrie thinks Fu Manchu made one big mistake.
Yes, he should have stuck to making those firecrackers. He could have done a real bang-up legitimate business come next 4th of July.
Life and death, good and evil, two sides of a chess game. Two forces in the universe, one magnificent, the other sinister. It is said that the devil plays for men's souls. So does Dr. Fu Manchu. Satan himself, evil incarnate. My tea. Bring Manson to me. You see, James LeConte is dead, as I planned. And everyone thinks his death was accidental. It was as I told you it would be.
Yes, sir.
And now to proceed with the rest of my plan.
I purchased the stock in Argosy Chemical that you told me to. It's in my name now. As soon as they have a meeting of the board of directors, I can vote for your man.
I cannot truthfully say Alexander Baldwin is my man. Because of the stock he inherited, Mr. Baldwin is already an executive in corporation. He is not a man to be influenced by threats or undue pressure. However, he has a weakness. He is determined to become famous as a promoter of universal harmony. For several years now, he has been active in
various movements to further world peace. It is this phobia of his you must cultivate in making arrangements with him.
I believe I understand.
Argosy has a monopoly on the production of certain chemicals which are essential in the manufacture of military explosives. Control of Argosy's distribution is worth millions. Through Mr. Baldwin, I intend to have that control.
I appreciate your offer, Mr. Manson, and the confidence you show in me.
Well, I'll be very happy to help put you in a position where you'll have more opportunities to carry on your good work. And not only for Argosy Chemical, but for your efforts in behalf of world peace as well.
You know about that?
Frankly, that is what caused my interest in you. But we must understand each other. In return for my helping you into the presidency of Argosy Chemical, I want you to promise that the corporation will stop operating as a, shall we say, merchant of death.
What do you mean?
Weren't the foreign munitions makers referred to as merchants of death when they armed Germany before World War II?
But we sell only to friendly, non-aggressive nations.
Can you guarantee they will always remain non-aggressive? You know you can't, Mr. Baldwin. And so I must insist that the corporation stop selling to munitions makers of any country.
Very idealistic, Mr. Manson, but hardly practical. We must dispose of the chemicals we manufacture.
Recently, on a trip to Brazil, I learned of a project started there of clearing vast tracts of jungle for cultivating to farm crops. The work will require large amounts of insecticides, weed killers, and fertilizers, most of which can be made from chemicals you are now selling to munitions plants.
Farmers simply cannot pay our prices.
In this case, they can. I have a tentative contract here from one of the largest chemical distributors in Rio de Janeiro. They have agreed to buy Argosy's entire output for the same price you are now getting from England.
This is amazing, Mr. Manson.
Truly amazing, Mr. Baldwin. And there's no reason why the next president of Argosy Chemical can't accept this contract, is there?
No. No, none at all.
Argosy Chemical announced the election of Alexander Baldwin as president at the stockholders' meeting held yesterday. He will replace the late James LeConte, who was killed when his plane crashed last month.
So much for England's war effort.
I'm John Petrie, doctor of medicine, attached to the Surgeon General's office. The young lady is Betty Leonard, my assistant. When anything happens to upset anything as important as Britain's munitions industry, the man most likely to be called in is Sir Dennis Nayland Smith, late of Scotland Yard, but now, well, on a roving assignment.
As yet, we can't connect Fu Manchu definitely with Mr. Baldwin. But we keep close watch on agents known to have worked with Fu Manchu. And we've learned that a certain country behind the Iron Curtain has commissioned one of these agents to purchase large supplies of chemicals from the Argosy Company.
For what purpose?
To be used in their war effort against the West, of course. So it appears that those chemicals, which are no longer sent to England, are now being diverted to another customer, a potential enemy, through the hands of Fu Manchu. Now, our problem is to find this out definitely. And if our suspicions are correct, to stop it.
Now, you have this agent of Fu Manchu's under surveillance?
Yes. One of our agents followed him to Rio de Janeiro. A few days later, our man was found dead, with the mark of Fu Manchu burned on his forehead.
Good heavens.
Petrie, you own stock in the Argosy Company, don't you?
Well, yes, a little.
And Baldwin was a patient of yours when you were in private practice, wasn't he?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we've always been quite friendly. But who told you?
Oh, we have a complete file on Mr. Baldwin.
Then you must know he's a completely honest man. He wouldn't deal with Fu Manchu, and he wouldn't sell out his country either.
His record would appear to bear that out, Betty, and yet he's canceled the English contracts. Why? I've also purchased shares in the Argosy Company, and as interested stockholders, we shall pay Mr. Baldwin a visit and find out the reason for his company's sudden change in policy.
That's a good idea. Why not take Betty with us? She always had a calming influence on the old boy.
Well, the feminine touch is always helpful.
So you see, Mr. Baldwin, Sir Dennis and I feel that, well, we have the right to ask why this sudden change in policy.
And I'm very happy to tell you. Instead of being used as potential instruments of war, Argosy chemical products will help grow food for a hungry world.
You mean they'll be used in agriculture?
Exactly.
Preposterous. No farming industry could afford such prices. And you should know it as a businessman.
Are you accusing me of underhanded dealing?
Now, Mr. Baldwin, of course he isn't. He's only suggesting that those chemicals could be transshipped to other buyers without your knowledge.
It is a possibility.
Impossible. We ship directly to our agent in Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro?
Yes. And he sends us a record of sales and deliveries. Now, if you'll pardon me, I'm very busy. Manson, glad you dropped in.
Something wrong?
I hope not. I'm not sure. You're certain about this agricultural project in Brazil, aren't you?
In what way?
The chemicals are to be used as fertilizers, insecticides, and the like, aren't they? There's no chance of their being used as munitions.
What? Who gave you that idea?
John Petrie used to be my physician. He and a friend of his, Sir Dennis Nayland Smith, were just here. They're stockholders.
Oh, stockholders. Well, that explains everything. I'm afraid they're more interested in profits than they are in world peace. Don't let it upset you.
But it does upset me. Sorry, Manson. That must be the answer. Sit down.
It was to be expected that Sir Dennis would be sent to investigate the delay in the British armament program. Therefore, we must reach Rio de Janeiro in time to forestall him. Prepare for our immediate departure. We can be sure Sir Dennis will waste no time getting there himself.
Our plane winged over the magnificent harbor and the picturesque modern city of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It all looked very interesting, but we knew we weren't going to have time for sightseeing. By the time we got through customs, it was night. We decided to check into our hotel and wait until morning before going to the warehouse where the chemicals we wanted to investigate were supposed to be stored. We carried credentials as investigators for the auditing firm employed by the Argosy Chemical Company. We could check everything in the warehouse. Sir Dennis had seen to that.
It's them, all right.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
There has been time to put everything in order. There should be no complications. But in dealing with Sir Dennis, one cannot afford to become overconfident. So, when he inspects the warehouse, you will be there. You may pose as a clerk, or perhaps an office worker.
Yes, sir.
Watch Sir Dennis. If he should discover any irregularity, take whatever actions the circumstances indicate. You are armed?
Yes, sir.
The invoice is checked with the shipping records, Mr. Gonzalez. So apparently all the consignments are still in the warehouse here.
Nothing can be shipped to the project till the end of the rainy season.
So the contents of the warehouse should check with these figures.
Oh, they do?
Well, we won't try a complete balance, but we'd like a sample check.
Of course. Every shipment is stacked in a separate block so that everything can be easily counted. Manson, bring the inventory diagram. This way, gentlemen.
Yes, it all seems correct. Well, I think that's all we need, and thank you very much, Mr. Gonzalez.
Not at all, senor.
Thank you.
You are certain Sir Dennis has no suspicions?
He said he was satisfied.
I cannot believe Sir Dennis would come this distance to make so short and inconclusive an investigation. Who is on duty at the warehouse at night?
Only a watchman after Gonzalez, the manager, leaves.
As long as Sir Dennis is here, you will stay at the warehouse at night.
Very well, if you think it necessary.
I think it necessary.
Come on in.
Hello, Bertie. Hello, Eddie.
Well, tell me.
Well, I thought we'd drawn a blank, but our eagle-eyed friend here managed to spot a clue.
One of the crates supposed to contain chemicals had an extra line of nail holes, as though it had been opened and then nailed up again.
Which could mean that the chemicals have been smuggled out and the crates left behind to make the invoices balance.
Well, why do you say could mean? Why didn't you call the police and find out for sure?
No, Betty, we can't go to the authorities until we have definite proof that the contents of the crates have been tampered with.
What he means is we'll do a little burglarizing tonight, and you are elected to drive the getaway car.
Oh, it sounds interesting.
Well, we shouldn't start before midnight.
Let's have dinner. We'll see you downstairs in a half an hour.
All right, I'll be there.
So long, Betty.
Goodbye.
We don't want the car too close to the scene of the crime.
Now be careful, you two.
We won't be gone long, I hope. Suspicious or prowlers, shoot first and ask questions afterwards.
I will keep alert.
You wait for someone?
Yes, my friends went into that cafe.
That is a bad place. There is often fighting and trouble.
Well, you know American tourists. They always want to see everything, even the tough places.
It is not good that you wait here alone. I will stay with you until they return.
Oh, but that won't be necessary. I'm sure I'll be all right.
Perhaps, but it will be better if I wait. Cigarette?
sir.
I was making the rounds.
Everything under control?
Very quiet, sir.
Good. Get a smoke break.
Thank you, sir.
Boy, this is dirt. Just plain ordinary dirt.
That's all the evidence we need. All right, close the lid.
There is trouble. I must go.
Burglars in the warehouse.
Act drunk. Just come out of that cafe.
Oh, my old friend.
Those are the burglars.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Take your hands off me,
These are the
please.
friends I've been waiting for.
Are you sure you can identify them?
Well, I didn't see their faces, but the burglars came this way.
Well, why don't you have a good look at my face now? I have met this lady before, and she was waiting for her friends who were in the cafe.
That's us. I guess I'm mistaken.
Of course you are. Anybody can make a mistake. Come, we must find the real burglars.
So long. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This isn't late. Not at all. You know, I only had 2 beers. And they call it shop here, old pal.
Come on, Uncle Bill.
So long, pal.
That was nice thinking, Betty. I had to let them go. The officer was standing right there, and I knew you didn't want any publicity.
You handle the situation properly. But now you must act quickly. Fortunately, they have already paved the way for us.
I hope they don't get rid of the evidence. Well, I still couldn't replace the missing chemicals. And in any event, this is a job for the high-level authorities. Of course, it wouldn't be very diplomatic to disturb them at this time of night. Now I can wait till morning. See who it is.
Where's Miss Leonard?
What do you want of her?
Fu Manchu has authorized me to make an offer. A plan that will clear up this situation to the satisfaction of all of us. But Miss Leonard is involved too, so get her here. At once.
Well, we can't just...
I suggest that you do it. Now. Without mentioning to her why you want her.
Hello?
Betty, Sir Dennis has had another one of his attacks. Would you bring his medicine over here right away, please?
Attacks? What kind of medicine?
Betty, please bring it right away.
All right.
Come in.
Shut the door and get over there with them.
this plan that Fu Manchu presents to us?
A rather clever one. You trapped yourselves when you pretended to be drunk. The officer at the cafe will testify that you were intoxicated. And so when they find you dead in your wrecked car, there won't even be an investigation. Especially if they find a broken bottle with plenty of spilled liquor. Now get your coat and come on.
I couldn't catch him, but I got a pretty good description of the car. It's an older model black Lincoln Zephyr. License number 500724. You better call your office.
Betty, did you have anything to do with the arrival of the police?
Well, John said you'd had an attack, and I know you're not sick, so I figured it must be some other kind of attack.
Good girl.
Anyone for coffee?
I am, for one.
You fool! Driving here directly from the hotel. Even the stupid police will be able to trace you.
I had to. I'm badly wounded.
Kolb!
Within an hour, the police had located the getaway car. Manson had been wounded, and a trail of blood led us into an apartment building. Led us through the corridor to a door. We broke it in.
I can't tell you what a terrible shock this has been to me. To think that I could have been instrumental in furnishing munitions to an enemy of my own country.
Maybe it was a fortunate mistake. Because of it, we were able to break up Fu Manchu's South American organization.
Well, from now on, I'll be very certain our products go only to friendly nations. I don't know how to thank you people enough.
The resumption of your shipments to England will do that for you, Mr. Baldwin.
Life and death, good and evil, two sides of a chess game, two forces in the universe, one magnificent, the other sinister. It is said that the devil plays for men's souls, so does Dr. Fu Manchu. Satan himself, evil incarnate.
Attention, This is an emergency bulletin. Attention, this is an emergency bulletin. A-bombs have struck Seattle, Los Angeles, Akron, and Milwaukee. The locks of the Panama Canal have been demolished by an atomic missile. A total of 61 American cities are reported under attack. Go to your nearest air raid shelter immediately and tune to Conelrad. 640 and 1240 on your radio dial. I repeat, go to your nearest air raid shelter and tune to Conelrad. 640 and 1240 on your radio dial.
Are you out of your head, man? Turning the traffic that way?
Sir, I was only following orders.
What orders? All traffic on this street was to proceed south to the avenue, and then west. You turned the traffic east.
But that's what I'm supposed to do under the new instructions.
What new instructions?
All previous orders have been countermanded.
By whose order?
I don't know, sir. I was told only 3 minutes ago by Chief Deputy Warden.
Headquarters knows nothing about any change. You say a Chief Deputy Warden gave you those orders?
Yes, sir. He just headed east in an official station wagon, number 6.
All previous orders are countermanded. East-west traffic takes precedence over north and south.
You are late, Karamana. You have kept me and Mr. Rudick waiting.
I could not get through, Master. The streets are jammed with traffic, bumper to bumper.
The freeways? The bridges?
Nothing's moving. The freeways are choked. So traffic is pouring onto bridges that are already clogged while others are empty. Yes?
It would seem that the master plan to evacuate the city in a matter of moments has failed. Go out there and find our friend. Tell him he shall be rewarded.
Yes, Master.
That was Dallas, Master. Agent M2 reports complete panic and chaos.
Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta. In every large city, the evacuation plans have failed. But now watch the stock market fall as word of this failure spreads. Tomorrow, they will throw their stocks and bonds on the market. Fear will cause them to sell their homes and flee from the cities. You have followed my instructions about my own securities?
They are being sold short on every exchange in the world at this very moment, Master. By tomorrow, you will have made millions.
Pardon me.
You're late.
Couldn't get through. The traffic's all snarled. You should see it out there.
The traffic's not the only thing that's snarled. 3 doctors, 4 nurses, and an ambulance crew are supposed to be assigned to this station. Lucky this is just a drill and not the real thing.
It was right outside.
I'm all right, sir. Somebody inside.
Not easy. Very easy. Smelling sauce. This man's hurt. We better get him to the emergency hospital. Give me some bandages. Wait a minute. All right, let's take him into the emergency station.
Someone must have called an ambulance.
All right, put him down here. We'll wait for the ambulance. Yes, sir?
Doctor, where are the 2 men who were in that red car outside?
We sent one of them to the receiving hospital. The other one wandered off before we could determine his injuries.
They sometimes do that with a concussion. They don't realize they've been hurt. If
The police are looking for him now.
You say you sent one man to the receiving hospital?
Yes, the ambulance arrived almost immediately before we even put in a call.
They were certainly on the job.
He was one of your chief deputy wardens, wasn't he?
Yes, so I understand.
And then what happened? Oh, I don't know. There were people all around Jalma. I couldn't tell whether he was dead or just knocked out. I knew they turned to me next, so I got away. Leaving Jalma in their hands? You have ruined everything, idiot. Captain Jalma, we thought you had been...
Killed. You should know Hans Jalma better than that.
How did you get away?
Your little man Cole provided an ambulance. It got there just in time.
Cole will be well rewarded. And so shall you be, Captain Jalma.
So, Dennis, when you were in British intelligence during the war, did you encounter any enemy sabotage of civilian communications and traffic behind the lines?
Yes, I'm afraid I did.
How was it done?
By saboteurs masquerading as our own military police and issuing false traffic instructions. They had us bogged down and tripping over ourselves in no time.
That's what happened here yesterday during the air alert.
Well, how can you be sure?
Only a master saboteur could create such confusion in so short a time.
Why?
Sir, Dennis, what are you doing here?
Oh, it's good to see you. Hello, Peter.
I didn't know you were good friends. Sit down.
Thank you. Oh, yes, Dr. Petrie and I have worked together many times. And Miss Leonard has been a great help on many occasions.
I sent for you because you attended a traffic victim who was brought to this station during the air raid alert.
Mr. Harper thinks that a master saboteur has been at work.
We know this man isn't what he pretended to be, a chief deputy air warden.
Yes, I remember him well. Some signs of shock and a superficial head injury.
Could you describe the man?
Yes, he's about 5'10", a powerfully built man, cold blue eyes, and a very heavy, leathery skin, the kind a white person gets from a tropical sun.
Did you notice if he had an old scar on the back of his hand?
Oh, yes, he did. I noticed it, John.
You know this man, Sir Dennis?
Yes, Mr. Harper, only too well. His name is Jalma, Hans Jalma. He was the best the Nazis had during the war. Since then, he's been selling his services to the highest bidder. The last I heard of him, he was in Egypt.
And Egypt has a hot tropical sun.
That would account for his leathery skin.
The question is, who is the highest bidder this time? Who would want our national air alert to fail?
I'm beginning to wonder if there isn't some connection between this saboteur and the stock market break.
Well, what are you getting at, Sir Dennis?
American securities were being dumped on exchanges here and abroad before the alert was half over.
That's right.
Now, whoever ordered that dumping must have had good reason to believe that the alert would fail.
It seems to have taken steps to ensure that it would be.
A broker friend of mine said these securities hit all exchanges at the same time.
Well, that would almost prove that it was all planned in advance. But who planned it?
Well, the last time I was up against Jalma in Egypt, his employer was Fu Manchu.
The market is leveling off, Master. I think the confidence is returning and that it will soon rise. Do you wish me to start buying back?
No, Rudik. As I told you, we have just begun. We will create such a panic that will make the year 1929 seem like the breaking of a child's toy. But first, we must create a favorable atmosphere for disaster. What the American people call the jitters. This might be in order. Mr. Rudik, you once told me that the Free Nations maintain several bureaus which scans all newspapers printed behind the Iron Curtain.
That is true, Master.
I should like you to provide these zealous readers with some items that might interest them. The first to the effect that a leading scientist behind the Iron Curtain has just been awarded the highest decoration his country bestows in the field of radar research?
Consider it has already been done, Master.
Then, a few days later, there should be another item. This one stating that a military aviator of this certain country has just been decorated for extraordinary aerial reconnaissance. Then I would like an aerial photograph leaked, I believe that is the term, to a Stockholm newspaper. The subject should be a familiar American landmark. Shall we say Niagara Falls? That is all, Rudick.
Yes, Master.
Only one conclusion can be reached. That in some way and manner unknown and still disbelieved by our military authorities, the radar defenses of the northern hemisphere have been penetrated. Now, the Senate is demanding an immediate investigation. There are charges being made that billions of dollars of the taxpayers' money have been wasted on a radar defense which is inadequate.
Fu Manchu is behind this. He's trying to create another world panic.
Surely you don't believe any of it.
Of course not. 2 small items in foreign newspapers, and the world jumps to the conclusion that the defenses that have cost this nation billions of dollars are obsolete. Nonsense.
What about that aerial photo of Niagara Falls that was published in the Stockholm newspaper?
A cleverly doctored fake.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Rudick, your propaganda has worked well. The American people are jittery. They feel that their government, with its denials, is concealing the true state of their defenselessness.
Master, I but blindly followed your instructions.
Jalma?
The airplane is ready. It has been reassembled and is waiting, Master.
The time has come to prove to the world, once and for all, that the North American radar screen can be broken.
Then watch the stock market crash.
Rudick, through the usual channels, you will announce that on June 21st, the longest day of the year, a plane will take off here at this point in the Bering Sea, cross the North American continent to a point in the Caribbean, where it will be picked up by a waiting ship. That is what we shall tell them. They will think that the plane has penetrated the first 2 radar rings. Then, to prove it, we shall let them shoot the plane down as it reaches the 3rd radar ring.
The free world is holding its breath as it helplessly awaits the morrow when the flight of the mysterious plane known only as XY6 may well reveal that modern man, despite his great scientific skill, is more defenseless than his naked ancestors.
Professor, you've been in radar since its inception. What do you think?
No such plane exists, even on the drawing boards of the future.
Now, wait a minute. You can't underestimate the scientific ability or technical knowledge of another nation. We once thought that we alone had the secret of the atom, but we learned otherwise.
You look a little pale around the gills, Petrie. Do you really believe that Fu Manchu has the free world at his mercy?
I didn't. But naming the actual date reminds me of the day that Babe Ruth stood at the plate and pointed to the left field fence and then proceeded to slam a home run over it.
Yes, but Fu Manchu isn't Babe Ruth yet. Oh, the whole thing's impossible.
I'd be inclined to agree if it hadn't been announced that the pilot of the secret plane will give his positions during the progress of the flight. As you know, it's very easy to check a radio position.
I still say the world is being duped.
Well, by tomorrow noon, we'll know.
By tomorrow noon, we'll know no more than we do now. And there'll be a panic such as the world has never known. And millions of Americans will be bankrupt.
Hello? Oh, yes, Inspector. This is Dr. Petrie. I see. Right, thank you very much. That was the inspector. The Toronto police just reported a cold lead. A man resembling Jalmar in appearance was seen a week ago at the Toronto airport.
A week ago?
He booked passage to a small village named Lac Laval.
Lac Laval? Petrie. We're going to Lac Laval.
But the lead's a week old. If he was there then, he's bound to be gone now.
But look, it's just a few miles north of the last radar defense ring.
So are 1,000 other places.
I grant you that. It may mean nothing. But we've got to do something. We just can't sit here and twiddle our thumbs.
At Lac Laval, we found out the only unusual activity had been the hauling of some heavy crates to an abandoned mine, supposedly to reactivate it. Again, one of the men had a resemblance to Jalmar. The mine was far off the main road.
I wonder if that's the place. Put her back in the bushes.
The pilot of XY6 has just reported his position as 142 degrees and 16 seconds west and 65 degrees 27 seconds north, which means that the secret plane has passed through the first radar defense ring. Hundreds of shortwave radio operators picked up.
Somebody's coming out.
One of them is Jalma. And the other in flying clothes. Ever seen him before?
No, but it can only mean one thing. They've got a plane hidden out there somewhere in the bush, and they're going to run out.
Fields will drive you to the plane. Warm up. When you hear the XY6 announces that it has passed through the second radar ring, wait exactly 20 minutes, then take off. Got that?
Yes, Captain Jalmar. When I hear the announcement, I wait exactly 20 minutes, then take off.
You will then climb to an altitude of 9,000 feet. Head directly south for 6 minutes.
Directly south for 6 minutes.
You will then hear the XY6 announce its position again. Wait 30 seconds, then bail out.
What about their anti-aircraft batteries?
You will be just beyond their range.
And the plane?
10 seconds after you leave it, it will be within their range and kaput.
Who picks me up?
I do.
Jalmar's staying behind. What do you make of it, Sir?
I don't know yet.
Should we take after the station wagon, or should we jump Jalmar now that he's alone?
Neither. Let's see how dust if we follow them in the Jeep. There must be some reason for Jalmar's staying behind. We've got to figure it out before we can move in. It's time for another report from the XY6.
It is time for another report from XY6. Our powerful receivers are waiting to pick it up, and we will relay the pilot's voice to you if we can catch it. Now stand by. If we are successful, the next voice you will hear will be the pilot of the mystery plane.
This is XY6. My position now is 110 degrees and 11 seconds west and 57 degrees
Master,
and 30
the plane has
seconds
penetrated the second radar ring.
So it would appear.
This is XY6. I repeat, my position is 110 degrees and 11 seconds west. This is
Jalmar's voice. I'd recognize it anywhere.
How can it be when we know that he's in that building?
6 seconds west.
Is it Jalmar or someone who looks like him? Well, we can't wait any longer. We've got to find out. Come on.
All reports show that the mystery plane has successfully passed through the first and second radar defense rings and is now heading for the third, which a compilation of its speed of travel reveals will be within 6 minutes. One moment, a late bulletin has just been handed me. The directors of the Paris and Brussels stock exchanges have stopped all trading.
Come, Rurik. We have work to do. See if you can get to that window. Then when I reach the door, smash the glass and duck.
Then I'll come in at him.
Right.
That's Jalmer, all right. No doubt about it.
Do we take after him?
No. Now that we know he's in Canada, we'll have the Mounties pick him up. Come on, let's see what's inside the shack.
It's a tape recorder. He's left it running, but there's nothing on the tape.
No, let it run. Petrie, you were a pilot during the last war. Do you think you could figure out the longitude and latitude of this building, roughly?
I think so. 77, 6 west, 48, 21 north. Why? Hey, I hear a plane.
This is XY6. My position is 77 degrees, 6 seconds west, and 48 degrees, 21 seconds north.
So that's how it was done.
He's bailed out. That's anti-aircraft batteries. They got it. They got XY6.
Yes, Petrie, so it would seem.
But you saw it.
I saw a plane shot down. Obviously one that just took off. We know one thing. Jalmer was not the pilot.
But we heard Jalmer's voice in the radio giving fixed positions.
There's other tape recordings of Jalmer's voice, set up outside the other 2 radar rings by his accomplices and turned on at the appropriate time. I'd better notify Central Intelligence.
Listen. That's the station wagon coming back.
You too, Jalmer.
All right, move.
Come on, get over there. You two. A very ingenious scheme, Captain. By means of this tape recorder, you almost fooled the world that the plane had penetrated the 1st and 2nd radar rings. And having the plane shot down by the 3rd defense ring would have proved it, wouldn't it? We need this tape as evidence. Calling 3VD. Calling 3VD.
This is KM3VD. Come in, please.
Central Intelligence, this is Dennis Nayland Smith. Contact radar defense and inform them that the plane that they have just shot down, while it carries the markings XY6, did not penetrate the 1st and 2nd radar rings. It is only in the air 6 minutes. We have proof. I have the pilot.
Did they shoot down and identify the plane?
Yes, Master. They have the plane, and the pilot, too.
Life and death, good and evil, two sides of a chess game. Two forces in the universe. One magnificent, the other sinister. It is said that the devil plays for men's souls. So does Dr. Fu Manchu. Satan himself, evil incarnate.
This is our bearing. Get this off right away.
Aye, sir. Calling Coast Guard Hong Kong. Calling Coast Guard Hong Kong. Number 2 boiler is flooded and we're shipping water fast. Doesn't look like we can weather the point. Over.
Coast Guard to Carfax. Roger. We'll have a cutter away in 10 minutes, but I'm afraid we can't get there in time. Over.
Carfax to Coast Guard. Do the best you can. We're in a tight spot. Out.
Keep in touch.
Aye, aye, sir.
Owner's orders are to take special care of those boxes. So when we abandon ship, they'll have to go with us in the boats.
How we doing, sir?
No good. Tell the Coast Guard it looks like we'll strike any minute.
Aye, aye, sir. Coast Guard Hong Kong, Carfax to Coast Guard. We've struck and we're abandoning. That is, if the boats will hold out.
The fates have indeed deserted me. My carefully organized plans disrupted by a mere whim of the sun gods.
Surely, Master, another ship can be found.
A ship? Of course. But my cargo? It will take time to replace it. Perhaps too much time. Find Mr. Costin and bring him to me.
I'm Dr. John Petrie. With me is my laboratory assistant, Betty Leonard, and Sir Dennis Nayland Smith, British Secret Service operator. That was the Port Authority. That freighter we've been waiting for sank off the point.
What? Were there any survivors?
Yes, luckily the whole crew was saved.
Well, I guess that means we can relax until the next ship comes in from the States.
Betty, we weren't sent here to relax. When those deadly germs were stolen from that research lab in California, all the Western powers were alerted.
If the Red Eastern powers ever get their hands on that germ culture, they could prove that it came from the United States.
With these cultures as proof, and a certain amount of brainwashing of prisoners they already hold, they could accuse and positively prove our government had used germ warfare.
Well, you don't think the free world would believe that?
No, they wouldn't. But it could be the only excuse they'd need to turn germ warfare against the Western world and kill thousands of innocent people.
Well, our next move is to talk to the crew of that lost freighter. See if we can pick up a clue there. Give me the phone.
Splendid, Mr. Costin. Splendid. It would have taken me months to replace these germ cultures. And how were they saved?
Captain Warren. He is an even better man than I thought he was. Of course, he didn't know what was in the boxes, but I told him to take special care of them. So he took them with him in the lifeboat.
He did not take them through customs?
No. Some natives gave him a ride into town, and he brought these boxes straight to me.
Good. The Red Powers, which have commissioned me to deliver these germ cultures, will be pleased. You must retain him to command our new ship.
I'd sure like to. He's the only skipper available who really knows this coast. But I don't think he'd take the job. He was signed on to bring the Carfax only as far as Hong Kong.
You mean he has scruples about engaging in the Oriental trade?
That's the trouble, I guess. He's a pretty salty character, but he has always kept clean with the law. And he knows that most of the Oriental trading nowadays involves contraband.
Nevertheless, he seems to be the best man. So we must persuade him to accept.
Sounds good all around. We can start whenever you are ready.
The arrangements for the new ship completed?
Yes. She'll be ready as soon as the cargo is.
Karamana, you know Captain Warren?
Yes, Master.
Then go find him and bring him here to me, taking the usual precautions.
I understand.
He usually hangs out at the Blue Dragon Cafe.
Thank you. Captain Warren.
Go away. Well, hello. Hey, drink for my friend here.
What will you have?
Nothing, thanks. I heard about your misfortune, Captain. I'm very sorry.
So was the storm. We'd have weathered it easy. That rusty old bucket hadn't popped her rivets and opened up like a sieve. So now I'm on the beach with a very slim chance of getting a new command around here. Guess I'll just have to deadhead my way back to the States and look for a job.
Oh, I don't want you to leave now that we are just about to become good friends. Can't we go where it's a little more private?
Well, now, don't you think for a minute, baby, that I want to leave, but what else can I do?
Perhaps I can help you. I have a friend.
I'll bet you got a lot of friends, but let's forget all about them now.
No.
Oh, I want to have another drink. You have one, too.
No, please. This man is very rich. He helps Captain Carston buy his ships. They have a new one now, and they need a captain.
Carston's not liable to want me again.
But my friend may. At least we can go to his place. Be much better than just sitting around here.
I'm ready.
I must tell you, this friend we are going to see is Chinese.
Oh, so what? There are a lot of them around here.
Also, he has just escaped from behind the bamboo curtain, and his enemies are still looking for him.
That's not unusual either.
He must keep in hiding, and no strangers must know where he lives.
That's still okay with me, baby. You work it out any way you want to.
Let's go now.
Hello, Carston.
Captain Warren. This gentleman, you don't have to know his name. He is my partner.
It gives me a pleasure to have the opportunity to thank you for so thoughtfully removing those boxes from the wreck.
Well, those were my orders. I was just doing my duty.
And very efficiently, which is why we are happy to offer you the command of our new ship.
Where's she bound?
It will be used in the usual Oriental trade.
No, thanks.
May I ask why not?
Well, I just don't want to get mixed up in any dealings with the Reds.
I can assure you, our operations are entirely legal. All cargoes will be inspected by the port authorities.
Sure, I know. but I still don't like the business.
Captain, you must consider we are doing you a service, making you this offer. You must know it will not be easy to get another command here. There is also the matter of the boxes you brought through without customs clearance. If the authorities should learn of this, you might find yourself in an awkward position. Then again, you might disappear. And I am sure you wish to continue to make Hong Kong your home port.
That would be very nice, Captain.
Of course, if you are still in our employ, we would take full responsibility for that incident.
All right. As long as you put it that way, I'll sign on.
Captain?
You must be extremely careful. One touch of this culture on your skin, the infection would be fatal in a matter of hours.
I understand.
Make sure that the needle reaches at the heart of the melon. There must be enough room for the culture to keep the germs alive until they reach their destination. Kolb, when we finish with the melons, you will repack them. Make sure they are packed properly. These crates must pass under the eyes of the customs inspectors.
Yes, Master.
Hold it. Captain Warren. Stuck him in the corner out of the way. What do they want?
They were questioning me about the shipwreck. Want to know how I happen to have a new command so soon.
You've got nothing to worry about. You're clean. I'll handle this.
Oh, Captain Warren, incidentally, I have an authorization here to inspect your cargo.
Talk to Mr. Carston. He's the owner.
The usual procedure, I suppose. My man will help you if you need him.
Well, thank you. We'll probably want to open one or two cases. Exporting melons to China, Mr. Carston? Isn't that rather like carrying coals to Newcastle?
No, sir. They are just ship's galley stores.
Of course. We'd like to open two of these. Say this one and that one.
Yes, sir. You, get a bar and come over here.
Yes, sir. And then will you please probe this one for any concealed containers? That top one, please, and that. Wine tonic.
Could be.
Yeah, we'd like to take a few of these bottles back to the lab for analysis. Hey, one out of this case, one out of this, and one out of the bottom right there.
How long will these tests take?
We'll run them tonight. Have the results sometime tomorrow.
Sorry to hold you up, but I must ask you not to move any of this cargo until I give you clearance.
I can't question your authority. This is going to cost us plenty of money to lay over here another day. What contraband could possibly be in these bottles?
What we're looking for is a consignment of deadly bacteria that could be used in germ warfare. These wine bottles might contain cultures which could be built up into enough germs to wipe out the population of an entire country.
I know the Reds are trying to prove that the United Nations used germ warfare, but I had no idea they would try it themselves.
The infection that could spread could be more deadly than an H-bomb. And the worst part of it is, this particular bacteria can be readily identified as having been made only in the United States.
All right. I'll have my men open the boxes as soon as he's finished with the barrels.
Thank you. Petrie, let's go and have a look at those other boxes.
All this stuff has to sit out here overnight. Who's the watchman?
Chinese. I don't know his name, but he seems to be all right.
Maybe, when he's awake. You sleep aboard, don't you?
Sure.
Then I want you to check up on him during the night. There's been a lot of pilfering going on around here, and we don't want to take any chances.
All right.
And be sure to keep your eyes on the melon. Some dock loafer might pick them up.
Sure.
No dice, Betty. The only damage this stuff can do is to give you a hangover. Dennis? It's wine tonic. Nothing else.
So, we draw a blank. But you know, Peter, I'm still suspicious of that cargo. We know there were germs on the Carfax, and now we have the same owner and the same captain taking another ship up the coast.
If there are germs hidden somewhere in that cargo, they can only live for a limited time without refeeding. How long do you think you can stall off in Carson's clearance?
Not too long, but at least we can hold him up until tomorrow afternoon. So long.
Captain Warren.
Evening, Charlie. Say, the loading crew should be here in a half hour. Why don't you knock off? I'll take over. There. You're a good man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Close the door, huh? Drop one of these crates. Don't pick it up. Don't even touch it. All right, let's go. Morning. Get the clearance yet?
No. Where are the melons?
It's funny, they were here when I checked with the night watchman last night.
What time?
4 o'clock.
Didn't I tell you to keep a special watch on those melons?
Look, it's not my job to stand around here watching cargo. Besides, what's all the fuss over a few crates of melons?
I suppose you didn't hear that doctor talking about the germs hidden in the cargo. You're standing right next to him.
Sure, I did, but he was just guessing. Besides, it's none of my business.
You're right, it isn't.
Hands off of me.
You move those crates. I know it. You're going to tell me where they are if I have to beat it out of you.
Oh, you are, huh?
Got to bring him to and make him talk. We'll take him to my apartment and work him over there. Get him to the car.
Right.
You will continue, please.
The captain has revived now. Mr. Castan is sure they will make him talk soon.
That may not be soon enough. Has Sir Dennis brought the clearance papers to the warehouse yet?
No, master.
But he undoubtedly will soon. And when he discovers the melons missing, he immediately will start a search for Castan. Does anyone around the waterfront know where he lives?
Perhaps the man at the Blue Dragon.
Then I'll go there at once and tell him not to tell anyone.
I will, master.
Captain Warren was at the warehouse.
Captain Warren! Captain Warren!
Hey, Petrie. Weren't there some crates of melons there yesterday?
There certainly were.
Melons? Is it possible?
Yes. A sizable amount of culture could be injected into the center cavity of a melon.
Captain Warren!
Well, he obviously isn't here.
Any idea where Karsten is?
I haven't seen him today. Just came on at noon.
Has any of the cargo been loaded yet?
Nope. Ship's hatches are still closed.
Any idea where we could find Karsten or the captain?
I wouldn't know, but you might try the Blue Dragon.
Blue Dragon, come on.
How do you do, gentlemen? What will you have? Nothing, thanks. Say, do you happen to know Mr. Carson or Captain Warren?
Oh, yes. They're my very good customers, but they have not been here today.
Could you tell me where I could find them?
No, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Which one was it?
The little man who moved up to the bar.
You know him?
I think he's one of Fu Manchu's spies. We should have recognized this scheme as Fu Manchu's. It's been so cleverly organized.
One of the slats is broken on this. It'll have to be repacked.
Handle it carefully. You see, Captain, you could have saved yourself all this trouble if you told us where the crates were sooner.
Still all right. I've stalled you long enough. Ship can't sail now, or ever.
What are you doing here?
Sardenis was in a cafe. I heard him tell... Something wrong, he said.
Hold up your hands. All of you. Over against that wall. Come on. You too, Carsten.
You're smart. You know what's in this melon? Before you can pull that trigger, I'll splatter this all over the room.
We must go at once. The papers, quickly.
Please. Please help me.
The germs?
Obviously. And the longer we stay in the room with him, the more dangerous it becomes. Go at once.
and death, good and evil, two sides of a chess game, two forces in the universe, one magnificent, the other sinister. It is said that the devil plays for men's souls. So does Dr. Fu Manchu. Satan himself, evil incarnate.
A great period in the history of the world. Perhaps the greatest. A man with a master plan to rule the world. Catastrophic at that time ran out on him.
What a pity the plan died with the man and was lost to the world.
But it did not die with him, my dear Karamana. There is a man now living who but waits my command to put the plan into action again. Is that not so, my dear Kolb?
Yes, Master.
You will bring him to me at once. You know the great American plastic surgeon, Dr. Harlow Henderson, of whom I have spoken?
Yes.
You will see to it that he also is brought to me at once.
Yes, Master.
When they are brought together, these two, we shall be ready to put our master plan into effect. Dr. Henderson?
Yes?
I am Dr. Fu Manchu. My assistants inform me you wish to know why you are here and why I am holding you prisoner. Come with me, and I will show you. Everything is ready for you to demonstrate your skill at your specialty.
Who is the patient?
Very good, a friend of mine.
Why here? This is makeshift. I'm used to
a public hospital would not be quite the place, my dear Dr. Henderson.
It can't be.
But you are wrong. It is.
Well, I won't do it. You must be out of your mind.
I, too, am a doctor. My specialty? Oriental torture. It is you who would be out of your mind to disobey.
I'm Dr. John Petrie of the Surgeon General's office. My good friend, the famous plastic surgeon, Dr. Harlow Henderson, had disappeared, as though the earth had swallowed him up. The police were baffled, and my assistant, Betty Leonard, and I pitched in and tried to find some clue at the doctor's office. All we knew was that Dr. Henderson had received an emergency call, and that he left his office without telling his nurse where he was going.
No, these are just medical notes, Betty.
John, what date did Dr. Henderson disappear?
15th, why?
Well, his calendar says the 16th. Do you suppose the address, the place where he went on the emergency call, might be on the page marked the 15th, if we could find it?
Well, he probably tore the page off and took it with him. But we can look. Hey, wait a minute. If he wrote that address down, an impression might have come through.
10 Park Street. Do you suppose that's it?
Could be. I'll call you in an hour and let you know. looking for Dr. Henderson.
Please do come in.
Show him in.
Harlow. Petrie, Fu Manchu.
How very bright of you, my dear Dr. Petrie.
Harlow, what's this all about? John, I've just changed this man's face. Do you know who this
Silence! And now, Dr. Henderson, my humble thanks for all you have done. Coco, you will see to it that the good doctor never reveals the identity of the patient upon whom he has exercised his great skill.
What are you going to do to him?
If the mere thought upset you so, Dr. Petrie, come with me into the next room.
Do as you talk.
You kill him now, who'll take care of your patient? If infection sets in, you will need Dr. Henderson.
Not if I have you, Dr. Petrie. Yes, you will be staying with us for a while. Perhaps quite a while.
Tarantula.
You won't get away with this. My secretary knows where I am.
Ah, so your secretary knows where you are. Very well, then. You will telephone her? Please, do not force me to subject you to the same fate as Dr. Henderson, my dear Dr. Petrie. Telephone her. Say what I tell you to say.
Dr. Petrie's laboratory. Oh, hello, John. Did you locate Dr. Henderson? Oh, I'm so glad. Uh-huh. Well, when do you expect to get back? Uh-huh. Well, good luck. I'll see you then. Goodbye.
Petrie?
Uh-huh. He found Dr. Henderson.
Oh, that's wonderful. I told him not to worry so much.
Well, everything seems to be all right. He and John are going on a secret mission for the government. They'll be gone a while. Just how long, John couldn't say.
Secret mission for the government? Well, tell the old boy to get in touch with me as soon as he returns.
All right, I will. Goodbye, Sir Dennis.
Bye, Betty.
Master, Kolb wishes to speak with you. He and Coco have just returned from their mission.
You have disposed of Dr. Henderson's body as you were instructed?
Was bad luck, Master. As we throw the body into the river.
Something went wrong?
The police saw us, Master.
Then the police have the body?
I'm afraid so.
Dr. Petrie's secretary knows our address. She thinks Dr. Petrie and Dr. Henderson are together. We must be leaving at once. Pack everything that could lead the police to us and leave the rest. Hi.
Hello, Betty. You sent for me?
Yes. Sir Dennis, look at this coroner's report.
Death at the hands of a person or persons unknown, acute septicemia, nature of poison presently unidentifiable. Now, whose report is this? Dr. Henderson, dead.
His body was found being dumped into the river.
Good Lord, and Petrie was with him.
That's what's worrying me. That's why I sent for you.
What was that address he went to? Number 10?
Park Street.
Number 10, Park Street. Operator, get me the priest, quickly.
Sir Dennis?
Yes.
We checked the apartment. It's empty.
From the looks of things, they left in a hurry.
We searched this place with a fine-tooth comb. This is what we came up with. The crumpled papers are from the wastebasket. Perhaps you'd like to see what's in here. Quite a collection.
Oh, this place has been fixed up as an operating room. Look at this. All the latest type instruments. The surgical kit. H.H.
Harlow Henderson.
Well, that's odd. All the same type bandage.
What's this? Mein Kampf. Adolf Hitler. That's funny. Motion picture film. Scenes of Hitler's Germany.
And look at this. This is the page from Dr. Henderson's calendar John took with him. What do you make of all this, Sir Dennis?
I don't know, Betty. I'm just as bewildered as you are. Maybe take these with us.
Yes, sir?
Dust this room thoroughly for fingerprints. I'll be at Dr. Petrie's.
Yes, sir.
Betty, have you finished the blood test on Dr. Henderson yet?
Just finishing now, Sir Dennis. It seems Dr. Henderson died from the bite of a poisonous insect. A very rare type of tarantula found in the Orient. It's called a,
Tarantula magna.
Well, yes. Are you familiar with it?
Yes, I'm familiar. It's one of Fu Manchu's favorite lethal weapons. Betty, a famous plastic surgeon is lured to a mysterious address. We find there Hitler's book, a motion picture of scenes of Hitler's Germany. Now, what I'm thinking is that Henderson was brought there to perform plastic surgery on the face of a man the world thinks dead.
Sir Dennis, Adolf Hitler is dead. There are men who saw him commit suicide. They saw his body cremated.
But are these men whose word we can rely on? Are they not men who still in their hearts are loyal to their beloved Fuhrer?
Well, I suppose it's possible they could be covering for him.
Oh, I shudder to think of it. Adolf Hitler planning another attempt to conquer the world with Fu Manchu.
After we left Fu Manchu's place, I was forced to stay with a party while they boarded a World War II submarine that gave evidence of having been part of the German Navy. I had no idea of the port for which we had set sail. All I knew was that we were headed into the vast expanses of the Pacific. Now it was time for me to remove the bandages from the patient whose identity I couldn't even guess. For some reason, instinctively, I suppose, I braced myself for a shock.
Hand me the mirror. Examine the patient carefully, Dr. Petrie. Is any medical attention required?
The healing process is well underway. No sign of infection. It's an excellent job of surgery. However, with an operation like this, complications can still set in. There was something about the man's face, something fascinatingly familiar that I couldn't put my finger on. I had the feeling I knew who he was, that I'd seen him someplace before, but I sensed he was someone evil, evil to the core.
Man once tried to conquer the world from a crowded city. It proved to be a fatal handicap. But he'll have another chance.
This time with the help of the great Fu Manchu. This time from an island bastion in the Pacific, where he cannot be reached. This time he will not fail. No, he will not fail.
It's you. You're alive.
Here's something coming in code.
Over a week now, and not a trace of Fu Manchu and his party. They must be somewhere.
Times like this, we realize how big the world really is. Singapore reports. Field operator has spotted a party, including 2 Caucasians, male adults. 1 female Eurasian adult, 1 Eurasian dwarf, 1 Oriental male adult, and...
That's our party. Singapore, eh?
Regret, field operator unable to keep on trail of party.
Whom do I see for a flight to Singapore at once?
Come with me, Sir Dennis.
From Singapore, we were flown to a tiny, uncharted island somewhere in the South Pacific, where the man with the new face led us to an elaborate underground cave. The main attraction was in the last section we were shown on our tour.
This is the laboratory, my dear Dr. Fu Manchu, I was telling you about. This is where I spent much of the past 10 years with my loyal scientists. This machinery is a part of the cyclotron, which is a vital piece of equipment in the production of atomic energy. But we have used our cyclotron for a different purpose, to produce an instrument which is not known by anybody, an instrument which I will show you now, gentlemen. It looks simple, but the distraction and havoc it can cause is unbelievable. Yes, this insignificant-looking piece of equipment, when it's placed within 1 mile of an atomic bomb, within 20 minutes, it will automatically explode that bomb. Now, we all know that the United States of America has stockpiles of atomic bombs in various places throughout the country. Places which are not even known to the American public, but are known to us. All we have to do is to place one of these anywhere within 1 mile to each of these stockpile, and it will explode within 20 minutes, leaving the United States virtually defenseless.
Surely, you are certain to know what will happen then, Dr. Petrie? Without atom bombs, America will be attacked at once by its most powerful enemy. And conquered, of course. And then, the same process will be followed until the great powers of the world are exhausted. And then, we will step in, subdue the little countries with our 5th columns that stand ready to march.
The world will be ours.
Sir Dennis, Miss Leonard.
How do you do, sir? I got your message to stop by. Is there any news?
No, sorry. I only wanted to take you over and have you meet my assistant, who'll be in charge of this office during my absence.
Are you leaving?
For a while. Special assignment. To a place that doesn't even show on the map.
Oh, really?
An uncharted island apparently somewhere in the South Pacific. We've had a report of atomic fallout in that area, a very slight degree, of course, as though someone were experimenting with atomic energy.
Someone unauthorized, of course.
Completely unauthorized by every member of the World Council of Nations.
I'd like permission to go with you.
Sir Dennis, are you thinking it might be Fu Manchu?
Yes, Fu Manchu and that unholy partner of his.
Fu Manchu and who?
I'll explain later. Will you take me?
I see no reason why I can't. I'm flying down with a group of commandos in case we have to land and fight. Be at the airport in an hour.
Well, thank you, sir. I'll be there. Goodbye.
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 Bye.
Well, a very strong indication.
We're over the area now, sir. Which one of these islands is it?
We're not sure.
Keep on a steady course.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Look at the needle.
Hard! Sir? That island we just passed over, set it down on the beach. Right, sir. Fasten your safety belts.
We have already manufactured sufficient of these triggering instruments to fill our needs. It just remains for us to ship it to the United States and the other powers who have stockpiles of atomic powers and place them.
So, you see, Dr. Pitre, the day is practically at hand.
You're insane, both of you. What do you expect to gain if you destroy almost all of civilization?
Something you would not understand. Power.
Master, airplane landed on the beach.
What kind of an airplane?
Are there any markings on it?
The World Council of Nations.
Come, warn us when they approach. Amen. Come.
Not a sign of life. The radioactivity seems to increase in that direction.
Doctor, that person released the submarine. Tell the captain I wish to leave in 10 minutes.
Our atomic devices?
They have to be packed carefully. I and my men will bring them. Hurry, please. Bring the containers. The right one. Now. In here. All right.
Don't go in there.
The man with a new face set himself for a fight, but Dr. Fu Manchu started to show that well-known streak that ran up his back.
Stand back! Stand back or I'll destroy all of you!
Finishes him. You still think he was the man who was supposed to have died in Berlin years ago? I don't know. But if it was, he's dead now.
Well, whoever it was. Another enemy of civilization is gone.
fight life and death, good and evil, two sides of a chess game, two forces in the universe, one magnificent, the other sinister. It is said that the devil plays for men's souls. So does Dr. Fu Manchu. Satan himself, evil incarnate.
I'm Dr. Petrie, member of the Surgeon General's staff and presently engaged in a research project for the United States government, the sustaining of human life in the vacuum of outer space. I was on my way to Alma Madre, New Mexico, where the U.S. Armed Forces maintain an advanced rocket testing station. We were moving along without any particular incident until...
Anything wrong? Nothing too bad, sir. The beam went off. Probably a power failure.
I didn't think much about it at the time. We flew along on instruments for a while. Then, just as suddenly, the beam signal came on again.
Here we are, sir. We're a little off course, but we'll be back on. That's funny. I didn't realize we drifted that far off course. Well, we're back on now, so nothing to worry about.
This is the fourth missing plane in as many weeks. First a transport, then an Army bomber, a government personnel plane, and now an Army transport. 3 of them missing along the southern coast, 1 off the Pacific coast. Coincidence? Sabotage? You take it from there.
The investigation of the 4 disappearances has gone through channel, Sir Dennis. I can assure you no stone is being left unturned.
I intended no criticism, sir. It's just that Dr. Petrie happens to be a very particular friend of mine, and I'd like to offer whatever help I can.
Well, I don't see why that can't be arranged. You're very highly regarded here, sir.
Thank you, sir. Has the investigation turned up anything significant yet?
Yes, we're convinced the disappearances were deliberate, not accidental.
Sabotage, eh?
Oh, would you see that Sir Dennis is supplied with complete reports of the 4 missing planes, Miss Hadley? I'd prefer not to give you our opinions on that matter, Sir Dennis. I'll be very interested to see if you arrive at our conclusions. There'll be a full committee meeting here Thursday. We shall expect you then.
Well, thank you for your cooperation, sir. Thanks. Goodbye, sir.
Good day.
Thank you.
I thought you might like some coffee, Sir Dennis.
Well, thank you, Betty.
How's it going?
No doubt about those 4 planes being deliberately pulled off course. Automatic beam stations were tampered with in every instance. Thank you.
Even madmen make sense, but this deliberate murder.
I'm not at all sure that it was murder.
I don't understand.
I've gone over and over the backgrounds of these 4 men missing in these 4 planes. And there emerges a pattern. Each plane carried an authority on some phase of space science.
Space science?
Precisely. Dr. Petrie, an authority on space medicine. Others missing were a meteorologist, an astronomer, aerodynamics engineer.
But who'd want to destroy minds as brilliant as this? Daring and brilliant enough to look into the future.
That's just the point, Betty. I'm not sure that these minds are destroyed. I believe these men are still alive.
But, Sir Dennis...
Do you have any idea what a valuable and potent weapon a man-made satellite would be?
Well, I've heard Dr. Petrie on the subject, but I didn't pay much attention.
Just imagine this is the satellite, shot out beyond the Earth's atmosphere, where it stays in a vacuum, beyond the pull of Earth's gravity. A space station from which man could observe the Earth.
Well, Dr. Petrie was trying to tell me something about that the other day. How man can survive under great atmospheric pressure, nervous strain, artificial oxygen. But it seems so unreal and fantastic.
Now it does, Betty, but 10 years from now it won't. That's why far-sighted men of genius find this study so fascinating. As the Earth turns beneath this space station, every country in the world would come under observation. Rockets could be fired at any place on Earth during wartime, no matter how remote. Men on this space station could get a televised view of any activity here on Earth. A spy system that would outmode anything we know of today. I could go on and on explaining the possibilities, Betty, but I'm sure you get the point. The man who first succeeds in getting a manned satellite into outer space would not only observe the Earth, but he would control it.
I see.
That's why we can't afford to lose these men. Our research will be set back 5 to 10 years by the nation who has these men.
They'd be that much ahead of us, wouldn't they?
Precisely.
But which nation?
May not necessarily be a nation, Betty. It may be a syndicate. Or a man like Fu Manchu.
At that time, I was in a state of near exhaustion. I had little or no recollection of what had happened to me after the plane went down. All I could recall was that we'd made a crash landing into the sea. Nor did I have any idea of what country I was in. My captors did not speak to me, so I could not guess their nationality. Then, suddenly, there he was. And the unexpected sight of that evil visage drove the aching numbness from my body.
Welcome to Hubble quarters, Dr. Petrie.
I should have known.
I do not know that you should have. Neither you nor our good friend, Sir Dennis, could possibly know the nature of my present activities.
Whatever it is, I have no doubt that it's as rotten as ever.
On the contrary, this time I am inspired by only the highest motives. If only you knew how high.
What do you want of me?
Knowledge. You have little else of value. Kolb.
Yes, master.
See that Dr. Petrie is properly fed and rested. I shall expect him at dinner with the others.
Nayland Smith, British Intelligence.
I'm Dr. Vosberg. I've been told you want to see me.
Yes, how do you do, sir?
I haven't much time. We are planning to launch a rocket in a few minutes.
Well, I won't keep you long.
This is a question of security, I understand.
Yes. 4 other space scientists, such as yourself, have been lost in airplane mishaps.
I know. Unfortunate. In this work, we need them all.
We have reason to believe that you may be next on the list.
I?
Furthermore, I have a feeling that your fellow scientists are not dead, and I intend to find them.
And if they are dead?
Well, my reason for feeling they're alive stems from the same reasoning that prompts me to believe that you're next on the list. So far, each of these 4 missing scientists has been a specialist in some field of space science.
That is true. Petrie, authority on sustaining life in the conditions of a vacuum. Saunders, astronomer. Kerensky, aerodynamics, and Muller, meteorologist.
Exactly. 4 men whose knowledge is essential to an exploration of outer space. 4 men whose work would ultimately be useless unless they could get to outer space. And to get there, they would need an expert in guided missiles. You.
I'm beginning to understand.
Then it doesn't seem too fantastic?
I've survived 2 wars and many governments. My work has carried me far beyond ordinary human misery. I can no longer find anything too fantastic or unendurable.
Then neither would you find a man like Fu Manchu unbelievable?
Of course not. He's no more unbelievable than I.
You know, Doctor, yours is a rare genius. A remarkable balance between mathematics and imagination.
Sometimes more of a weakness than a strength.
But it's brought you where you are today. And it's also brought you to great peril. Every power-hungry nation in the world wants you.
Of course. That's why I always live in a kind of concentration camp. Even though it is of my own choosing.
Well, so far, it's the only thing that's saved you. Which brings me to the point of why I'm here.
They are beginning the test. If you will step over here, you may watch. Excuse me. Many men and much recording equipment will be waiting as soon as the rocket is retrieved. I'll be extremely busy the rest of the day.
Well, thank you, sir. I'll see you again this evening.
Here he comes. Good evening, Dr. Vosberg.
Good evening.
You know Dr. Vosberg?
No. I'm taking his place as part of a security measure. Yeah.
Able 2604, you're cleared to taxi to runway 56. Wind calm, altimeter setting 2900.
Well, do we go?
Signed by the old man himself. Sure we go. You're the boss, Sir Dennis. Whatever you say.
Thank you.
Able 2604. Roger.
Any particular orders, sir?
No, for the present, just keep flying your planned course.
Yes, sir.
It's only fair to tell you that if something unusual should occur, which might give us a choice of routes, our choice might result in a certain amount of danger.
What kind of danger?
I wish I knew. The purpose of this flight is to find out. You know, there's one thing I must tell you, fellas. If at any time that you feel that you're taking an unnecessary risk, you're free to make your own choice. Beyond that point, your duty will be purely voluntary. Is that clear?
If it isn't, we'll ask questions as we go along.
Right.
The radio brings news, Master. Dr. Vosberg is on his way, flying the planned route.
Cole, go aboard the ship and put to sea. Radio our men in the States to follow the same instructions as before.
Yes, Master.
Moving along on schedule. Everything normal.
10 miles south of Big Springs, Texas, on the Dallas Range.
We lost our beam.
sir.
This might be it.
Army transport, Able 2604, calling Dallas, over.
If you can't raise Dallas, I'll stay on this bearing until you get a fix.
Army transport, 2604, calling Dallas, over.
Transmitter's gone out. We're not getting out to him. I'll check the fuses.
If we continue on this bearing, we should be picking up Dallas. I don't understand what could go wrong, sir.
Power shortage at the station. They got her fixed.
Sure, of course. What kind of a navigator are you, anyway?
I don't get it.
I believe I do. Can you follow that beam?
Still normal procedure, sir.
80 degrees off course. That's impossible.
Possible is right. That would put a beam station right in the middle of the Caribbean. We've been flying blind for more than 15 minutes. We must have drifted.
But I've been watching the compass all the time. That bearing's crazy. We've been following a false beam.
We'll move on it for 10 minutes more. Then if it doesn't check with our course, we'll go back to the original heading.
Well, that's what I've been waiting for. Now we have the choice of following a strange beam or the compass. Which will it be?
What's your wish?
The beam. Well, I warned you it may be dangerous.
Doesn't matter, sir. The General's orders were to let you make the decision.
Off the coast of Mexico, approximately 50 miles north of Tampico.
Can't be out of gas already.
The gauges read half full.
I don't understand it.
Where Fu Manchu is concerned, there are a lot of things we don't understand.
Switch on the reserve tanks.
Not enough gas to get to the mainland.
That's the Oral Null, sir. That means we just passed over a beam station.
In the middle of the ocean?
Let down and have a look. There's a vessel down below there.
It's a beam station, all right, and plenty illegal. What now, sir?
Well, if we're nearly out of gas, we don't have much choice, do we?
No, I'm afraid not.
Set her down as close to that craft as you can.
Yes, sir.
Yes, plane. Also, swallow the bait. Huh? Skipper, look.
Just before we touch, brace your back against that bulkhead.
The plane is down. Pick him up.
But there must be some way to get Vosburg. You have acted unwisely, Sir Dennis. I hope you will not regret your reckless action.
If it brings you to heel, Fu Manchu, I won't regret it.
Bring me to heel, Sir Dennis? Is not the shoe on the wrong foot?
You don't think I came here without any precautions?
Such as?
Such as having my plane tracked by the radar of a following plane. Yes, we should now be hearing the searching party. The Mexican authorities have also been alerted, and soon they'll be combing the area.
I believe, Sir Dennis, that what I have always admired about you, although most reluctantly, is your inexhaustible resourcefulness.
I might well return that compliment, Fu Manchu. You hear? You see, I wasn't bluffing. That's just one of many.
I am so humbly sorry, Sir Dennis. But I am afraid your well-laid plans have come to nothing.
That's a matter of opinion. I still feel I hold the winning hand.
Are you suggesting we bargain further?
The only bargain I might consider would be the delivery here of the 4 scientists.
And what of myself and my staff?
That'll be up to those who arrest you. That was your ship with a false beam signal. A warning bomb, no doubt, asking surrender. Beginning out.
Drop the gun, trigger man, or the boss gets it. Sometimes we must bow to fate. Please to obey the suggestion of our most valiant guest.
What do we do with them, Sir Dennis?
The wind has shifted somewhat, Sir Dennis. Shall we go on with the bargaining?
I'll give you 5 minutes to bring the scientists here.
And in return for this favor?
You dare bargain further in the face of a gun?
Please, Sir Dennis. You do not think I will be as stupid as that? This innocent-looking instrument is in potential short-wave contact with the fuse of a bomb that rests beneath the chambers of your 4 valuable friends. One flick of the switch, and your friends will work and breathe no more.
You're bluffing.
Sir Dennis, you know me better than that by now. Do I touch the switch?
All right, Fu Manchu. Name your terms.
Extremely liberal. Freedom for myself and my staff.
You'll be free to go. Beyond that, I can't guarantee. It'll be out of my hands.
Beyond that, neither you nor I will have to worry, Sir Dennis. But I must have your solemn promise.
You have my word.
Here is the key. Perimeter.
You want me to follow them? No, you heard me give my word. You get down the road and get the police here as quickly as possible. That must be the Mexican police we've been expecting.
The only thing I regret is that you let him get away.
Well, your 4 lives are a better bargain than his, and I gave my word.
Yes, but what a chance for you. May never come again.
How far do you think he can get in this deserted country?
Oh, not far. Just down the river by motor launch to the estuary where he takes a submarine for Red China.
What? Did he tell you that?
Yes. That's how he was planning to get us out of the country. All he was waiting for was Vosburg.
Well, if he was that confident... Look here, Petrie. I brought along this little instrument out of a consuming curiosity to find out whether or not Fu Manchu was bluffing.
I wouldn't bet either way.
Shall we try?
Why not? Mine's abandoned. Well, it looks like this time he really took it.
One thing I've learned about Fu Manchu, if you're going to call his bluff, be sure you hold the aces.
life and death, good and evil, two sides of a chess game, two forces in the universe, one magnificent, the other sinister. It is said that the devil plays for men's souls. So does Dr. Fu Manchu. Satan himself, evil incarnate.
You have done well, George. Very well. You may go now. So, Mr. Black, are you satisfied?
Greatly impressed, Dr. Fu Manchu. Not even in my own country are we able to train our people as well.
I have raised George as though he were my own. His father was an American intelligence officer in the Far East. He very nearly upset one of my most important ventures. Most unfortunate for him, he had to die. But how better could I perpetuate his memory than to educate his son in my own image? Kolb. The photographs. Mr. Black, you have come to me to buy time for your nation, to slow down the stockpile of new weapons this country is producing. It is quite a race, is it not?
The difference between survival and oblivion. Now, this new secret night fighter the United States government is putting into production. A reliable source informs me it is the fastest fighter plane in the air, radar controlled.
I know who is producing this plane. Mr. Randolph, producer of tanks during the last war. In his house, there is a man who is the cook. He but awaits my orders. Mr. Adams, president of Adams Airlines. Mr. Bishop. He will provide the heart and soul of this craft. The delicate radar equipment.
This operation must be slowed down, sabotaged.
I will end it. Mr. Bishop will be first.
What are we, children? We have to keep this project hushed up?
Security, Mr. Bishop. We have our nation's security to think of. You don't tell secrets to a potential enemy.
And you don't have security if you can't scare the pants off that potential enemy. Now, I say, let's worry him. Let him know what we got. Let him know what our weapons are and what they can do if he ever decides to play rough.
He has his weapons, too, remember, and he's not telling us.
Yeah, but we got the stockpile. And we're the boys with the know-how to build it quicker and higher and faster.
I'm sorry, Harvey. I must side with Scott on this one. We're out to produce the fastest, deadliest jet planes ever designed. And if anybody, unfriendly to us, gets a look at as much as 1 inch of it, they'll ram it right back down our throats.
Not that fast, they won't. And by that time, we'll have something better and bigger.
Mr. Bishop, I admire your rugged patriotism, but let's be realistic about this. The enemy doesn't frighten easily. And no matter what, he'll twist and turn everything we do or say to make us the aggressor where peace is concerned.
But...
No buts, Mr. Bishop. My orders come from the top. And I'm giving them to you, gentlemen. The roof can cave in, but you don't talk to anyone. You don't even think about it. Not even to yourselves. Well, since that's the way it is, I'm sure we'll all abide by it. Right. Mr. Adams, go. Mr. Bishop.
Petrie, John Petrie, doctor of medicine. I'm attached to the Surgeon General's staff. I'd worked in some weird ones, but when Scott, Assistant Secretary of Defense, called me in on this case, it was the topper.
Talk about your gas chambers. Bishop was dead 6 seconds after he opened that box of cigars. Very ingenious. A tiny aerosol bomb containing poison gas. It's got the boys over chemical warfare baffled. But, Mr. Scott, I think I have a pretty good idea in all of this. Who made the bomb and who planted it. A number of years ago, Sir Dennis Nayland Smith and I were working on a case in the Far East.
Is this your only copy, Dr. Petrie?
Oh, yes, sir.
This case is closed, Doctor.
But, Mr. Scott... Now, I know I'm under your orders, but a man has been killed, murdered, and he was killed by one of the deadliest, if not the deadliest, concoctions of poison gas ever devised. And there's only one man in this world evil enough to have created
Perhaps you didn't hear me, Doctor. This case is closed. Some items are stamped for your information only, confidential, top secret. We don't even have a rubber stamp to label this one. It never happened. That's official.
Well, if that's the way you put it, that's the way I put it. And you have no further need of my services. Scott's locked this one up and thrown the key away.
Well, I don't get it. You yourself told me you and Sir Dennis traced this same poison to Fu Manchu 5 years ago. Harvey Bishop was big business. If Fu Manchu is in this, it's really big. And if it's that big and that secret, why doesn't Scott want you to help him? Why does he want to brush you off?
Betty, I told you before, forget it. Besides, if Scott had given me a chance to mention Fu Manchu, he'd probably have called a doctor and had me put in a straitjacket. Please, Betty, do me a favor and just make like nothing happened, will you?
Western Union, please. Yes, I'd like to send a cable, please. To Sir Dennis Nayland Smith. The paper, master. Harvey Bishop, age 53, died yesterday from natural causes.
You hear that, Pico? Natural causes. Already they become frightened. Highly amusing. But there's one thing that is not so amusing. The arrival of Sir Dennis. We must learn his purpose. Very strange Betty Leonard should make it imperative that he be here. Karamana, you will occupy a room in the same hotel. A room adjoining his. You will arrange to overhear every word of conversation that takes place. You, George, will also be there.
Where would you like your bags, sir?
Well, put them on the bed, please, son.
Your keys, sir.
Thank you. Here.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Pleasant 272095, please. Oh, may I speak to Miss Leonard? Oh, hello, Betty. I didn't recognize your voice. I just this moment checked into my hotel room.
Oh, Sir Dennis, it's good to hear your voice again. Dr. Petrie should be there any minute.
Oh, so Petrie's on his way over, eh?
Oh, well, I'd better explain. He doesn't know he's coming to see you.
He doesn't what?
Well, it's a long story, and I don't want to talk about it on the phone, but... Well, John's hands are tied, and I took it upon myself to cable you.
Sounds pretty important.
It is.
Well, I'll do my best to keep the old boy cool, calm, and collected.
Well, thank you, Sir Dennis, and I'm sure I'll see you very soon.
Of course, Betty. Yes, it was quite a pleasant trip. A little rough over the Atlantic, but we eased round through the Azores. Well, Karamana. Why is your illustrious master so interested in my arrival?
You speak to the wind, Sir Dennis.
about? What are you doing here? I'll tell you later. Karamina was in this room. They'd had my room bugged. The next thing I knew, I was being attacked by this young man. Why, may I ask?
Well, I was bringing up your trench coat from the desk where you left it.
Oh?
I see this door to the next room open and this woman standing there, and you with a gun. Well, I don't know. She looked frightened to me. I couldn't tell what was going on. Look, I'm sorry. I thought it would be safer to ask questions afterwards.
I agree. But this time, I think the police should ask the questions.
We've tried all lines of questioning, but we can't shake the boy's story. If we had just one shred of evidence that his attack was deliberate, we could hold on to him, at least for a court hearing. But I'm afraid we'll have to let him go.
That kid's heart pumps ice water.
I am still not convinced. If for no other reason than this identification you ran down on him. You see, the irony is, I knew the boy's father. I knew the case he was working on. Then suddenly he disappeared. His 6-year-old son and his wife, they vanished into thin air.
Oh, that may be significant, Sir Dennis, and I wish I could help. But no evidence, no charges. If you'd like to talk to him before we let him go, see if you could get through to him, I'd have no objections.
I'd like to.
Come in, son.
Sit down. Mr. Brackett here sent your fingerprints through for the regular routine check. We got back an interesting report.
I never had my fingerprints taken till I was brought in here.
We didn't say they came from police files.
No, we got them from official government files, the State Department. They were taken when you were a baby.
You're crazy.
I don't think so. How well do you remember your father?
And that's none of your business.
It turns out that I knew your father. I knew him well. Do you know what kind of a man your father was? Well, I'll tell you. He was a good man, and he was proud of his family. He loved his son very much, and he loved his country very much. That's why he risked his life as an intelligence officer. He was stationed in the Far East. It was there that I discovered that we were both hunting the same man, only your father came closer to trapping him than I did. Too close, I'm afraid. No one ever heard from him again. From your mother, or from you. Until now, that is. And knowing the kind of man he was after, I don't like to think of how your father must have met his death. Where have you been, son? What's happened to you? If the things I'm thinking are true, you must talk. You must tell us the truth. If only for your father's sake.
Are you going to let me out of here?
You may go.
Was it not possible for George to leave with you?
I knew Petrie was on his way. I could not risk staying 1 second longer.
Very well. George can take care of himself. They will find they cannot hold him. Cole, get a word to the cook at the Randolph house. Tonight, we make our second move.
I don't think I'll eat anything, thanks just the same.
Not eat anything, monsieur? Oh, but you must, monsieur. This is an old family recipe. Yes, a piste resistance for over 3 generations. Come, monsieur, try some.
You win.
Bien, monsieur, bien. And now, monsieur, for an appetizer, Some Burgundy, 1863, a delicious vintage. Please, monsieur.
George, I heard you cry out.
Oh, I must have been dreaming.
Go to bed now. You need the rest.
Karimna, did you know my father? Did you know who he was? Or how he died?
Why do you ask that?
Oh, I don't know. Fu Manchu has always told me how close my father was to him. That when my father died, his last request was that Fu Manchu bring me up to take my father's place.
If the master says it, then it is so.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Why don't you go to bed now and not trouble your mind about these things?
But we know Fu Manchu. We know he won't stop. If only we knew what he was after, what his scheme was.
Well, let's try to piece it together. Randolph Motors and Bishop Electronics were two top producers of vital material during the war. Now, if this were something ordinary, Scott would handle it an ordinary way. No news blackout, no hush-hush.
Petrie, suppose the Bishop Electronic Company were consigned to make a radar unit, and the Randolph Motor Company a power plant. Now, this is just supposition, mind you, but let's take it a step further. Who would be next in line to build a plane to house these parts?
Well, let's see. There's Horton, Fairview, Adams.
Adams? Well, they have a plant here in the city, don't they?
Yes, they're building experimental guided missiles for the government, as well as new type planes.
Come on, perhaps Adams will talk.
For you to test your skill on more than a mere statue, George. Now, you know what to do?
Yes, I go to the school. I move in with the others who meet there from the other schools. I tell them I was elected from my science class to join the group in the tour through Adams' aircraft. Then
what, George?
I know what to do.
Cole. He has been acting strangely. See that he is watched. If he should fail, we have another to complete the third and final assignment.
Yes, Master.
Mr. Adams, as you know, we are students from the various high schools who intend on continuing in the aerodynamics field. We'd all like to thank you for letting us tour through your plant.
Well, you're certainly very welcome. Gang, we've come a long way since a couple of brothers spread their wings and left the ground at Kitty Hawk a little over half a century ago. We had a first then, and the United States is going to continue being a leader. That's why you young men and women sitting here hold the key to the future security of our nation, because you'll be the scientists of tomorrow. And all of our strength and all of our hopes for peace and happiness will depend on you. Yours will be the brains to plan the destiny of this nation, of the world. And all that we who have fought to preserve our democratic ideals and principles ask of you is use your brains well. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
It's a pleasure to have you all.
That was nice, wasn't it? I enjoyed that. Well, nice school.
Yes, son?
Mr. Adams, could I ask you a question, please?
Of course, son.
It's about, well...
Yes?
Nothing.
What's that?
The same type of bomb that killed Bishop. You failed, Georgie. You shall die for this. Go on, get him out of here. Yes, sir.
All right, now, boy, let's have it.
I came here to kill you, but I couldn't go through with it. I couldn't. The man you and my father were after was Fu Manchu, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
I know that he lied to me about my father now. I know that he must have killed him, he and Cole. I hate him. I hate them both. Trying to make me just like him. Think like him. Act like him. To hate the way he hates. Please, don't take me back to him. Don't take me back to him, please.
You know, this is probably the first time in his life that he's cried.
That's all right, boy. You go right ahead.
Congratulations, Mr. Adams. Your test was a complete success. The government's going to pick up your contract.
Well, I guess in a way I have George to thank for that. Maybe even someday he'll help me launch that first artificial satellite into space. You know, he's been placed in my custody.
Which must be a bitter blow to Fu Manchu.
Sir Dennis, I want to apologize for the way I acted, but my hands were completely tied. I had orders from the top and had to carry them out.
I understand, sir. Just as long as we win the race.
And we'll keep on winning it. Now that you're in full production, we can release the facts to the newspapers.